Yo, what is good, Knicks Nation? Welcome back to another Knicks Media live stream. And today I'll be previewing a crazy matchup tonight between the New York Knicks and the Chicago Bulls. This is definitely going to be one of the best games so far this season in the NBA, in my opinion. We have the undefeated Chicago Bulls, who are 4-0, and we are going to Chicago during Joakim Noah night. And the Knicks are 3-1, coming off a good victory over the Philadelphia 76ers on national television on TNT. We are 3-1, Bulls 4-0. This is going to be a very, very good matchup between the Knicks and the Bulls. And in this stream, I wanted to give you guys my preview of tonight's game. What should we expect as Knicks fans from the Chicago Bulls? I got all the stats from the Big Four from Chicago, from Levine, Ball, and Vucevic. Those guys are really good so far this season, and they're 4-0, obviously. So it's going to be a big test for the New York Knicks. It's also going to be a big test for the Chicago Bulls because they've not really went up against any top-tier opponents so far, but that's not their fault. That's just because the NBA schedule has worked that way. So there's a big test for the Bulls, also a big test for the New York Knicks. This is going to be on NBA TV tonight. If you guys are not in the New York market and you want to watch this game, you can watch it on NBA TV. But if you are in the market of New York, you know where to find the game on MSG. Clyde Frazier, Mike Breen will hopefully be the ones going the play-by-play reaction. So, guys, everybody in the chat, salute. Hope you guys are enjoying your day. I'm going to be live for an hour and just dive deep into this Knicks-Bulls matchup. I would love to interact with everybody in the chat, answer some questions. Make sure you guys smash that thumbs up on your way in for your boy. I'll greatly appreciate that. So, first and foremost, let's get into the Chicago Bulls and what have they been doing so far this year. So we find out that Zach LaVine actually has a injury that he might be playing through. He has a left thumb injury, which is his off shooting hand, and Zach LaVine wants to play through it. I don't know if that's going to impact his game, but it seems like it has not impacted his game so far. I'm not sure when the injury took place, but Zach LaVine so far this season, he's averaging 25.5 points per game, 5.3 rebounds per game, 4.8 assists, shooting 50% from the floor and 44% from downtown. So Zach LaVine, you know, he broke onto the scene, I think, 2 years ago. Last year, he took another big step, and this year he's poised for another all-star performance. I think Zach LaVine is one of the most underrated players in the NBA. Coming from Minnesota, he was more of an athletic guy, you know, not really a shooter, just going to the paint, dunking on you, layup, acrobatic, all this stuff. But he really developed a jump shot. And not only can he shoot the ball well, but he can create his own jump shot very efficiently. He has that beautiful step-back jump shot. He can just take you off the dribble. If you give him any ounce of separation, he's going to shoot it and drill it in your face. So it's going to be a really interesting matchup on how the New York Knicks defend Zach LaVine. Who's going to be guarding him? Is it going to be RJ? Is it going to be Fournier? Because there's a lot of guys on this Bulls team that we have to worry about. It's not only Zach LaVine we have to worry about, also DeMar DeRozan, who is the second leading scorer on the Chicago Bulls. He's averaging 22.5 points per game, 5.8 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 41% from the field, and 37.5% from downtown, DeMar DeRozan. So, you know, DeMar DeRozan is one of the new players on the Chicago Bulls. And we all know what to expect with DeMar. You know, he was in our division for a while in Toronto, and then he went to San Antonio, and now he's in Chicago. So I think Knicks fans have a good idea what to expect with DeMar DeRozan. But I'm really interested to see how they work together because I've never really watched a Chicago Bulls game yet this year. So this is going to be a pretty, you know, my first time really watching them. DeMar DeRozan, he's a mid-range weapon. He's someone that loves to shoot that mid-range jump shot, even if you have a hand in the face. Doesn't really seem to bother DeMar DeRozan. I really rather him shoot threes. I'd rather give him those 3-pointers. And I will live with those. I don't think he's going to really destroy us from downtown. But defensively speaking, who is going to be guarded by RJ Barrett? Is it DeMar DeRozan or is it Zach LaVine? I don't know. That's a big question for Tom Thibodeau. Maybe he'll be switching on and off. Whoever's hot, RJ got to guard him because RJ is definitely the best Knicks perimeter defender on the team so far this season. And then Lonzo Ball in his first 4 games with the Chicago Bulls, he's averaging 14.3 points per game, 5.3 assists, 5.8 rebounds, shooting 45% from the field and 43% from downtown. So Lonzo Ball, he's off to a hot start with the Chicago Bulls. I want Lonzo Ball in the Knicks. I'm not going to, lie to you guys. For everybody that's watching my channel for a while, throughout the offseason, I was saying Lonzo Ball to the Knicks. That would be great. I'm not complaining. I love Kemba Walker right now. I'm just saying I am a Lonzo fan. I've always followed his game all the way back until, before he was even in college. But it's going to be interesting to see how Lonzo Ball runs this team. I'm really interested of how this Chicago Bulls team really works together. And then Nikola Vucevic, he has 14.3 points per game, 11.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 39% from the field, and 21% from downtown. So he is struggling so far this year in terms of shooting efficiently wise. But we got a guy named Mitchell Robinson who will be waiting for him to lock down Nikola. So guys, that's really my thoughts about the Chicago Bulls top 4. Those are the 4-headed monster we have to worry about. I'm interested to see how the Knicks are going to match up well against them defensively. Now, let's talk about the New York Knicks because this Knicks team, we're 3-1. We're riding on a high. We should be 4-0, but we lost to the Orlando Magic on Sunday. It was a little wake-up call for the Knicks. Julius Randle said that he could not go to sleep till 4 a.m. that night because he was so disgusted in himself and disgusted in the Knicks to be able to drop that game to the Orlando Magic. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see you guys saying what's good. When is Noel coming back? He is not going to be playing tonight. I don't know when he'll be back, but hopefully it's sooner rather than later. Johnny Timing, what's good, man? Bulls are averaging 107 points per game while we're averaging 118. We should win this. Very good point, Johnny. Very good point. Our bench is deep. Yes, sir. Our bench will be the biggest factor in this game. I agree. So shout out to everybody in the chat, guys. If you did not smash that thumbs up button, I would really appreciate that. Really make sure you smash that thumbs up button on your way into the stream, please. So, yeah, I think the bench is going to be the difference maker of this game. The guy that is, the leader of the Chicago Bulls bench is Alex Caruso. Outside of him, there's not really anybody I'm too concerned about. Obviously, they have other players like Kobe White, but I like our bench. I feel like that's what really separates the Knicks from other teams in the Eastern Conference and even the entire NBA. Our bench is deep. We got a 5-man, players out there. Derrick Rose, IQ, Alec Burks, Obi Toppin, and Taj Gibson. That 5 right there could be a starting 5 for the Knicks, and I would be happy. Our bench is really deep, and they're also playing very well together. They have really good chemistry. They have good continuity. Derrick Rose is the head of the snake of that bench unit, really making sure everybody is calm, cool, collected. They're running in transition. They're shooting threes. That's the one thing I noticed about this team, man. Tom Thibodeau, he is evolving his coaching ability to another dimension that we never expected. If you guys remember, when the Knicks first hired Tom Thibodeau, some people were criticizing it, saying, hey, Tom Thibodeau, he's a good coach. He won Coach of the Year for the Chicago Bulls. And then in Minnesota, he was one of those coaches that did not want to evolve his game. He was more of a conservative guy, old school defense, half-court offense, never really want to push the pace, never want to spread the floor and shoot the three-pointer. But, hey, Tom Thibodeau understands that the NBA is evolving and he needs to adapt as well. That's exactly what the Knicks are doing. They're evolving past anything that I ever expected. We are top 5 in the league, I think top 3 in the league in three-point shooting, three-point shots attempted. And we're also getting out and running in transition, which I love. I feel like we are a team that's really good at, keeping up the pace. And it's going to be a good matchup because the Chicago Bulls, that's exactly how they like to play, especially with Lonzo Ball being the point guard. Whenever they get the rebound, you never know what's going to happen with Lonzo. He can throw it full court for a dime. They love to be running up and down the court. They're a really fast-paced team. And you saw that was a difference maker against the Philadelphia 76ers when the Knicks played them. The Sixers are not really a team that loves to run up and down the court because they have Joel Embiid, especially without Ben Simmons. So what the Knicks did is they really out-hustled the Sixers. They just had more intensity. They were running up and down. Obi Toppin is our biggest weapon in transition. Derrick Rose loves it as well. Everybody on the roster understands you got to push the pace. When you get the rebound, push it. The Knicks are even doing transitions on buckets made by the defense, by the opposing team. What I mean by that is, if you notice sometimes during a season, say, against the Magic, for example, they get a layup. Well, what happens? Obi Toppin gets the ball after it comes through the net. He inbounds it immediately, and Derrick Rose is running down the court where it's kind of feels like a fast break. but he was off of make. And that's the pace that the Knicks are trying to do, because if you can outwork your opponents and get them tired and fatigued early on, it gives the Knicks a really big advantage all the way throughout the game, because in the fourth quarter is where it matters the most. It's going to be a really big test for the Knicks for sure. I'm really excited to see what the Knicks can do in terms of individually. So let's start off with some individual players, what I'm expecting for them. Well, first, before we do that, let's get into the chat, see what you guys are up to. We hear what's good, Apple. Welcome into the stream, my man, the loyal Knicks media member. We're going to beat the Bulls. I feel if we were 4-0 right now, we would have dropped this one. That Magic loss taught us. I agree, man. That Magic loss, it humbled us. It humbled us Knicks fans, and it really understood to the Knicks team that you cannot take any team lightly. Even if they're the Orlando Magic, every team is in the NBA for a reason. Whether they're young, rebuilding, it doesn't matter. They're NBA talent for a reason. Mitch is going to have a good game. He will be the factor. 100%. I think Mitchell Robinson, low-key, could be one of the best players on the Knicks. Not the best player, but he is such an important piece to this Knicks team. I feel like, Knicks fans, we understood how much he was missing during the playoffs last year. The rest of the NBA didn't really understand that we have Mitchell Robinson and what he can do. And for the fact that Mitchell Robinson put on that weight over the summer is only going to help him out, because he matched up so well against Joel Embiid. They literally look like clones out there, their body type at least, not their face, obviously. But when Mitchell Robinson and Joel Embiid were standing next to each other on the court, I'm like, whoa. Mitchell Robinson is the same exact body frame as Joel Embiid, and Joel Embiid's a big man. And Mitchell Robinson was never really that big. He was tall, but he was never, built. He was never had that strength. So now Mitchell Robinson has that strength. He can match up well against anybody down low, and he's also crashing the rebounds. He's blocking shots, getting second chance opportunities. Mitchell Robinson is probably the X factor for this Knicks team, if I'm being honest. I've been arguing with Bulls fans all day today. They're going to see what's coming today. Yes, sir, baby. Let's hope. Let's hope. This is going to be a big test. Exploit their weaknesses, depth, and pick and roll defense. All right, man. All right, Mark. I like that. Hopefully we can do that. Mitch is the factor all season long for sure. Hopefully we can get in that. So starting off with Julius Randle, guys, I want to talk about Julius real quick. Julius Randle is having a very good start to the season so far. He is averaging 25, 11, and 6, averaging the most points, the most rebounds, the most assists on the team once again. Pretty remarkable. I feel like we're taking Julius Randle for granted just a little bit, because he is the entire team in a way. But now that we have Fournier, now we have Kemba, we don't have to rely on him too much. And that's what's really going to help out Julius Randle this season, where he's not going to have to get the ball in his hands late and do ISO and, feel like he has to do everything all the time now that we have Fournier and Kemba adding to the mix. But Julius Randle's still doing everything. He is still the heart and soul of this team. The offense is run through him. He is like the playmaker. He's getting the boards. He's scoring at an efficient level. Well, actually, he's not really shooting the ball particularly well so far from the field this year, but I'm expecting that to go up. I feel like earlier on the season, it takes some guys some time to get into rhythm, such as RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett is a player that we saw last year. He started off slow. His rookie season, he started off slow, but he gets better and better as his season progresses, which is why I have no worry about RJ Barrett right now. He's remember, against the Sixers, RJ Barrett had 8 points in he had 8 points in like 3 minutes of action, and then he didn't really shoot the ball for the rest of the game. He finished 4 of 10. He only shot the ball 10 times. So I'm not really putting that much stock into RJ Barrett not having a great third season. I don't really expect RJ to take a big leap in terms of statistically. I don't think he can get over 17, 18 points per game, simply because of all the options we have with Fournier and Kemba that's going to take the ball out of his hands a ton. There will be some games where he puts up his 20 plus, when he puts up that 25 point mark. But that's the awesome thing about this Knicks team, is we have so many guys where any given night, it's going to be somebody else's night. For example, against the Sixers, it was Kemba Walker's night to shine. He had 19 points, which was a game high. We did not have one player on the Knicks score 20 points, and we still won, and we scored 112 as a team. That shows you how well-balanced this Knicks team is. That tells you that even though somebody might have an off night, somebody else is going to step up, and that means that we're not relying on somebody to carry us every single game, which is such a huge factor for the longevity of this Knicks season. Because if anybody has to go down with an injury or a rest day, I got all the confidence in the next man up mentality. But right now, we're fully healthy right now, luckily, and that's what we have to do. Now, when it comes to Kemba Walker is going to be matched up against Lonzo Ball in this game. So Lonzo, he's a very good defender. He's always been that on-ball, pesky guy, loves getting to the passing lanes, getting a lot of steals. But what I want to see from Kemba Walker is more of the same against the 76ers. Let it fly, man, because the first 3 games, Kemba Walker never really, got aggressive. He didn't really want to shoot the ball. When he did shoot, it went in more often than not. His percentage is through the roof so far this season, but Kemba Walker never really, put up a lot of shots. And we saw against the Sixers what happens if Kemba Walker gets hot. And that's exactly what needs to happen tonight. We need Kemba Walker to come out of the gate firing. Fire it whenever you have a little inch of space. Pick and roll. If you come off the screen and you have an opportunity to pull up from three, do it. If you want to make the read and you see Mitchell Robinson down low or you see RJ in the corner, make that read as well. I got all the confidence in the world with Kemba Walker to continue his point guard play for the New York Knicks. I feel like he is such a big part to this team. And then Evan Fournier. I feel like Evan Fournier he's lived up to the contract so far. Evan Fournier is the exact type of player that we were missing last year. The guy to be able to, come off the screen, pull up off the dribble. He's not someone that needs to be stationary when he shoots. He does not have to be waiting for catch and shoot opportunities. He can create his own shot. He's a playmaker. I mean, hell, even Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers was blown away from the Knicks. They said that they have a bunch of playmakers out there, and that's what separated the Sixers and the Knicks, because we have more offensive playmakers than them. And that's what's so awesome about this Knicks team, is because we have 4 playmakers on the court for the starting lineup. Kemba Walker's a playmaker. Evan Fournier is a playmaker. RJ is developing his playmaking. Julius Randle is the playmaker. That is what you need to be able to do in order to space the floor, give the offense a lot of fluidity and cohesion. I feel like the Knicks are doing just that so far this season. The starting unit has been so fun to watch this year, not to mention the bench unit has been just as more fun to watch. I mean, it gets to a point where I'm excited for the bench to come in because I want to see Quickly. I want to see Obi. I want to see D Rose and these guys. It really is that much fun. It really is that much fun to watch this Knicks team. But when it comes to the bench unit, what I'm expecting for them in particular against the Bulls, like you guys said in the chat, I think that's the biggest X factor. I think that's going to be the deciding factor. Is Derrick Rose going to have a big night in Chicago? Is Immanuel Quickley going to get hot? Because Immanuel Quickley, he's somebody that can get hot any given moment. His biggest game so far this season was against the Orlando Magic, the game in Orlando. He had 16 points. I would love for Immanuel Quickley to get going, because if he gets hot, it's over. Same with Obi Toppin. Let's see Obi Toppin get involved early. He's been so good so far this year. Obi Toppin, the only thing that he's been lacking so far is definitely his three-point shooting. He's 2 for 11 so far this year. I'm expecting that to get better throughout the season, but it's a really good sign that even though the three-point jump shots are not falling for Obi, everything else is working. His confidence is there. His aggression is there. Driving to the rim, finishing through contact, not relying on his athleticism that much, posting people up, getting the offensive rebounds, playmaking, his good passing abilities. Obi Toppin is making that big leap in year number 2 that Knicks fans have been waiting for. And I feel like Knicks fans should be really excited about what the Knicks have in Obi Toppin. So let me know what you guys say in the chat. What's your expectations about this game? Obviously, we want the Knicks to win. This is a big test for the Knicks. It's also a big test for the Bulls. Man, I'm excited. This game is going to be crazy. Guys, make sure you smash that like button on your way into the stream. I really appreciate it. We got 16 likes with around 40 of you guys in the stream. So if we can get this up to 50 likes by the end of the stream, I would greatly appreciate that, guys. It means a lot just smashing that thumbs up button for your boy. So what I'm looking out for in this game, the reason why it's a big test, because if we win, we're going to be tied for first place in the East, because the Bulls will go to 4-1 if we win. The Charlotte Hornets right now are 4-1, and then we would indeed be 4-1. But this game is not make or break the season. If we lose, we'll be 3-2, and there's still a long way to go. But at the same time, this is still a big statement game for the New York Knicks, because if they have an opportunity to go out there, this is on, NBA TV, so the whole world can watch this game if they choose so. And I feel like a lot of Knicks fans and Bulls fans are excited because the Knicks-Bulls rivalry is back. It goes all the way back to the 90s. Unfortunately, I was unable to witness that rivalry because I was born in 1998, but I knew all about it. I watched all the highlights. My dad told me all the stories about, the Patrick Ewing versus Michael Jordan Knicks in the 90s. And hey, maybe the Knicks and Bulls rivalry could be back, because the Bulls and the Knicks, I think they're on the same tier right now. I think they're both, upcoming. The Knicks were in the playoffs last year. The Bulls were not, so maybe we're a step ahead. But at the same time, the Chicago Bulls have a completely different team right now, adding, Lonzo and DeRozan. But I'm excited, man. I feel like this game is going to be all about effort and tenacity. It's also Joakim Noah night in Chicago, which is really funny. Of course, they have to do that when the Knicks are versing them. We saw Tom Thibodeau and Taj Gibson out with the Chicago Bulls alumni, whatever you want to call it, last night. So it's going to be really emotional, maybe. Derrick Rose returning home. It's not his first time returning to Chicago, but I feel like every time he's back in Chicago, it's going to feel good for him and Tom Thibodeau as well and Taj Gibson. Like, we literally have three of the core pieces from the 2011 era Chicago Bulls on the Knicks, and I feel like some Bulls fans even root for the Knicks just because of that. I know Kenny on YouTube, he's one of those Bulls fans that has no problem with the Knicks, and he says, hey, I'm rooting for the Knicks. They got my guy Tom Thibodeau and D Rose and Taj Gibson. I respect that. I got nothing against the Bulls. I like that the Bulls are back. I like that the Bulls are going to be competitive in the East because it makes the NBA better when the Chicago Bulls and the New York Knicks are back, because those are the one of the most biggest market teams in the league. There's New York, LA, Chicago, Miami. Chicago being good is really good for the NBA, and we know how good it is for the NBA for the New York Knicks to be good. I think that is, we don't really need to talk about that, how good this team really is. So guys, if you have any questions in the chat, let me know. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. I'm really excited about this game, guys, because matching up against a team that's upcoming like the Chicago Bulls, being 4-0, we have an opportunity to hand them their first L of the season. The Bulls have not really went up against any top-tier teams yet. This is probably their biggest test of the year. The Knicks, our one loss this year came from the Orlando Magic. That was a game where we should not have lost by any means necessary. But hey, it's a long NBA season. Games like that are going to happen. I'm just going to warn you guys now, the Knicks are going to lose another game where we feel like they should win again this year. That's just the reality of it. Even the championship teams, they lose to bad teams. It's just part of the league. And it's unfortunate when you're living through it and you want to beat every single team that you're supposed to beat. But the reality of basketball is you're not going to be able to do that every single night. I think the Knicks are going to take care of business in terms of, they're going to win more than lose in those scenarios, but they're still going to lose some, and we're going to be upset about that. I'm really excited about this game, guys. Whoa, I don't even know what else to say. I got my friends coming over. It's going to be a big party at my crib. We're going to be getting rowdy. We're going to be going crazy. Let's just take a moment and realize that the Knicks are back, man. We're relevant. We are a competitive franchise. We're good. I see some beef in the chat right now between Chicago and Knicks fans already. We got a Bulls fan in here. Hey, we're chilling. We're chilling. So, guys, let me know in the chat if you have any questions about tonight's game. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Whether it's a matchup between RJ and DeRozan or Kemba versus Lonzo, Levine versus Fournier. Let me know anything in the chat. Rich, you got to lose that Mets flag. I'm never giving up on my Mets, baby. Listen, I'm a Knicks, Jets, Mets fan. I've been suffering my whole life. The Knicks are back, but the other two, we'll see about that. Who do you think will be the leading scorer tonight? Good question. For the Knicks or the Bulls? I'm expecting you're asking this for the Knicks. I think it would have to be Julius Randle. He seems to be leading, even though against the Sixers it was Kemba Walker. But I don't know. I feel like I'm sensing a Julius Randle masterclass tonight. I think Randle's going to have 25 plus. Will Noel play? What's the deal? Mark, no. Nerlens Noel has been ruled out tonight. I'm not sure when he will be back, but he is not playing tonight. Let's go Mets. Let's go Knicks. Yes, sir. Don't know the makeup of the Bulls. I just know they're a damn good team. However, I know D Rose, Taj, and Thibs are going to be motivated to give them an ass whooping along with the rest of the team. Yes, sir, Melvin. You know that those three guys, it's going to feel good for them to be in Chicago, and they want to make a statement. I know the season just began, but these are the type of games that the Knicks got to prove themselves with. Chicago isn't going to be an easy opponent at all. Yeah, absolutely, man. The Chicago Bulls are not going to be an easy opponent at all. They're well improved. They got a brand new system. They got a brand new players. Even Alex Caruso off the bench is brand new. Lonzo and DeRozan, they're starting to get chemistry together. Zach LaVine is a star in this league. He's established himself that, I think, 2 years ago. I think we all know about how great Zach LaVine is. And I don't know, man. I think the deciding factor for this next game is going to be the bench. Fournier will go off for 22 plus points. I like it. I'm down. Richie, who do you think have the better point guard? That's a good question. Well, Kemba Walker, he is way more established in this league. Obviously he's past his prime. The Charlotte Hornets, Kemba Walker was legendary, but Lonzo Ball, he's averaging 14, 5, and 5, shooting pretty well so far. I don't know, man. I would give the edge to Kemba Walker just because he is, more established veterans, more reliable, but at the same time, it's pretty evenly skid. They're both completely different players in terms of their play style. Lonzo's more of a defensive guy. He's shooting really well so far this year. He's a really good playmaker. He crashes the boards. They're completely different play styles, but you see what Kemba Walker can do. He can take over the game at any given moment. When Chicago gets blown out tonight, will Bulls fans stop their whining? Hey, Mark, I wish the Bulls would get blown out, but that's very unlikely. But you never know what's going to happen. I feel like the Bulls are a very good team, and the Bulls fans, they have a right to be excited, man. Because listen, Knicks fans, we're getting excited about our squad. Like, we're getting overjoyous. We're really good right now for the first time in a long time. Knicks fans have every single right to be, extremely excited. Bulls fans have every single right to be excited about their team as well because they look like they're going to take a big step and be competitive in the East. And if I was a Bulls fan, I'd be excited. Defense tonight, we can't let up. Our offense will catch up. Facts, Tyler. Our defense is our bread and butter. Our defense is our identity of this team. That's where we really have to make sure that we hone in on defense because last year we were top 3 or top even 2 in some categories defensively. The offense was lackluster. This year it's completely different. The offense is top in the league and the defense is top 8. So if the defense can really, win us some games, that's the second half because our offense is, I think, so much more improved. Our shooting is ridiculous. We're breaking NBA records. We're breaking franchise records. I made a whole video about that yesterday about what this Knicks team is doing from beyond the arc. And it's absolutely tremendous what Kemba Walker and Fournier are doing to this team because it's opening up the floor so much more than we can ever expect. And I'm so excited about that. How many years till you think Knicks are championship contenders? Good question. Honestly, it could be 1 to 2 years. I think we're 1 or 2 big moves away. This season is going to be all about continuing to establish that culture because last year was doing that, but this year is continuing to build through the foundation, continue to develop the players that we have in RJ Barrett and Obi Toppin and Emmanuel Quickly, as well as the resurgence of Julius Randle becoming a superstar. And we still have veterans like Fournier and Kemba getting better and better within the system. I think this year, obviously, Knicks fans can understand we're not a championship contender, even though anything can happen. But I still think we're 1 or 2 stars away from being a legit championship contender. So, realistically speaking, I would say 2 years, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's even next year based on the trajectory of this team. And I got all the trust in Leon Rose to make that happen. The Knicks are really interesting because they have so many guys on this team that can make such a big impact in different ways. We're so versatile. We shoot the ball well. We defend. Mark says the Knicks are way deeper than a lot of teams in the NBA. We will win a lot of games with our second unit. Agree, Mark. I think that we won the game against the Sixers because of our second unit. The Sixers really didn't have anybody that scared me off the bench. And obviously they're depleted, but still, the Knicks, when we have our bench 5 out there, I like to call it, the D Rose, IQ, Burks, Obi, and Taj lineup, that's a good lineup. We won an 18-8 run against the Sixers with that lineup. If in the second quarter, if we can get a big lead early in the second quarter when our bench unit is in, and we can, and the starters come back in to finish off the second quarter, and we go into halftime with a lead, that's what really is going to start separating the Knicks team from others because the deep depth that we have is really instrumental. And I think the biggest fact of the Knicks having such a deep team is the bench unit has chemistry. They played all 5 of the guys off the bench for the Knicks played together last year. That's what's awesome. We have continuity, and that's the word that Leon Rose continuously said in his meetings, I guarantee, this offseason. He wants to continue having continuity within this organization. He does not want to just have new players and new players coming in. They want to have the guys that were with the Knicks that helped them get to that 4th seed. And the Knicks, if you guys remember, we had 8 or 7 pending free agents going into the offseason last year, and the Knicks re-signed so many players. Derrick Rose is a free agent. We re-signed him. Nerlens Noel was re-signed. Taj Gibson, Alec Burks, all the veterans that really had a big role on this team got re-signed, and they're all bench players. All the players who re-signed are coming off the bench. And that tells you the testament for the Knicks front office to understand how big continuity is and why I have a lot of confidence in this Knicks front office to continue the trajectory of getting better and better each season. Knicks definitely making the right moves and moving within that championship window within the next few years. I agree, man. We got to be patient. We have to understand where we were even 2 years ago. The Knicks were 2 years ago were, it's crazy how far we've come in less than 2 years. Who will have a better game, Toppin or RJ? I think RJ is going to have the better game tonight. I think that this is the game where I think RJ will have 15 plus points, in my opinion. Well, it's not an opinion. It's a prediction, rather. RJ got off to a scorching hot start against the Sixers. 8 points in 3 minutes. He had 2 3-pointers, and he finished a layup with his right hand. I just wish RJ could shoot more. I think that's the issue so far this year. He's not really finding his rhythm because he's not involved in the offense as much as he was last year. He's getting a big adjustment period right now with having Kemba Walker and Fournier added to the mix because those guys are playmakers. They love having the balls in their hands. Their score-first mentality, even though they are good at setting people up, being playmakers themselves. But RJ needs to find the spots, and the coaching staff needs to find a way to get RJ involved. They need to call plays for him because, he only shot the ball 10 times against the Sixers. You can't expect RJ to do that much by only shooting 10 times. The Sixers game proved we can win without Randle playing well, which is a great sign moving forward. Yes, this is exactly what I was saying during my live stream against the Sixers game. At halftime, I think Julius Randle had 5 points. The Knicks were winning by 20 points. Let me re-say that. The Knicks were winning by 20 points against the Sixers at half, and Randle had 5 points. That is such a good sign because we are not relying on Randle to do everything for us. When Randle's having an off night, which is going to happen, every superstar in the league has off nights. We have guys like Kemba Walker, RJ, Fournier, D-Rose, Quickly, all these guys to step up. It's crazy. It really is. What do you think about Randle at the 5 and Obi at the 4? I love this lineup. I really do. I just don't think that the Thibodeau is going to run this lineup unless there's injuries to the center position. This is more of a scenario where either the opponent's playing small ball and they want to match up well against them, or, say Taj goes down and Nerlens is still out, then we'll do that lineup. I love it when we saw it against the Celtics. When we saw it limited time this season, I love the Obi at the 4, Randle at the 5 because it makes the Knicks play really fast. It makes them play with rhythm, and it spaces the floor better than ever. I love this lineup, to be honest. D-Rose says you want to play as long as Brady. Is that true? If that's true, sign D-Rose to a 10-year contract. I want him as a Knick for the rest of his career. And Thibodeau as well. We have 6 first-rounders, 11 second-rounders in the next 4 drafts. By midseason, we should pull for a trade in a Knox, Burks, Noel, and a heavy pick-dominant package for a superstar. Ooh, don't get me started on this talk because that gets me excited. The question is, who's a superstar? What superstar is going to be available? And is he going to be the right fit for this team? If we can give up Knox, Burks, and Noel and a lot of picks, if that's all it takes, yes, sign me up. Because the last thing I want to do personally, because, the guys with the most value trade-wise for the Knicks team, not saying I want them gone. I don't want them gone at all. But the people with the most value on the Knicks roster right now is RJ, Quickly, and Toppin, because those 3 are the young guys on rookie contracts that are getting better and better, and they're young. And I don't want to trade any of those 3. I want those 3 guys to be Knicks for a long time. So if we can give up Knox, Burks, and Noel, that might be a little unrealistic, but we'll see. Yeah, I love that they've been able to play well when Randle isn't going offensively. Yeah, it speaks volume to the depth of this team. It really does. Kyle says, the thing that scares me is we live and die by the 3. If we hit them, we win. If we don't, we lose. It is the NBA today, but I want to see more paint action. Yeah, I agree, Kyle. Against the Magic, we lost that game because we were ice cold from downtown. We want to see the Knicks have a plan B. We want to see them attack the paint. We want to see them break down the defenses still. We are shooting the ball pretty well in the paint so far this year, but that hasn't really been a point of emphasis. I think we're shooting more threes than we are regular field goals, which is crazy. But it is a good sign that the Knicks are evolving, because if the Knicks were staying pack on last year's mindset, and Thibodeau had the same mindset when he was with the Bulls and the Timberwolves, he would not be able to coach this league today. And here he is today, Tom Thibodeau, becoming a very good head coach, evolving his game. Do you think Grimes will get minutes if Burks continues to play the way he's been playing? The unfortunate reality of this is Grimes is not getting any minutes until there's an injury. Unless Burks just stinks it up and like it's getting to the point where we need to pull him out. But Tom Thibodeau is not going to bench Alec Burks for a rookie, in my opinion. You know, we all know that Thibodeau loves his veterans. He has trust in Alec Burks. And the only way Grimes and Deuce and the rookies are getting minutes this year is if we get an injury, in my opinion. We need to stag Evan and RJ minutes to optimize both of them. Evan off bench eventually. I don't think Evan is ever going to come off the bench, in my opinion. We're giving him a big contract. He is a starter in this league. Evan Fournier is proving to be a big part to this rotation. I don't think Evan can ever come off the bench, in my opinion. Maybe a year or two down the line, if we add a big superstar, like say we go out there and trade for a wing or a shooting guard, and then Fournier is the sixth man, then yeah, sign me up. But as of right now, Fournier is not going to be coming off the bench this season. That's for sure. Speaking of Fournier is such a huge piece for us. Stretches out the floor, can drive in aggressively and dish it out. I agree, Freddie. I think that the Knicks hit it with Fournier. Like that signing was so huge for this team. Like it really does remind me of the Atlanta Hawks offseason before last year. They went out there, they paid Bogdanovich. They went out there and got Clint Capella. They added pieces around Trae Young, and it really made them become a more deep, well-rounded team. That's what happened with the Knicks. We surrounded Julius Randle with talent. We gave him a guy in Evan Fournier who's been on the Magic for 7 years. He is a guy that was like the leader of that team. He wasn't the number one option, but he was a big guy on that team that was impactful. And then we saw what he did in the Olympics with France. He is a guy that can take over games at any given moment. So I think Fournier is such a big piece to this team that we don't even really realize. And his ability to shoot off the dribble, like coming off screens, like Reggie was good with catch and shoot, but Reggie can never shoot off the dribble like Fournier can. Exactly what Freddie just said. Bullock did not do that. Good to see Randall deferring and trusting teammates late in games when he doesn't have it going. I agree, man. The one play that stood out to me the most from Julius Randle against the Sixers was he was in the corner. I forgot who passed him the ball, but he gets the ball in the corner. He's open for a split second. He could have shot it, but a defender closed in his face, so he decided not to shoot it. And we know Randle likes to shoot contested threes because he's hit it in the past, and I have nothing wrong with that. But what Julius Randle did, what he showed me was patience. Julius Randle, instead of shooting up a bad shot, he posts him up, backs him down into the paint, draws a double team, is patient, pump fake, dishes it down low to Mitchell Robinson, easy dunk. That is the evolution of Julius Randle's game. That is what he said he wanted to improve on the most in the offseason, is to not overcomplicate things, not feel like I have to do everything, get my teammates involved, slow down the game. And that was a really good sign for Julius Randle because that is what's going to separate him from just being a star to a superstar. If he can really continue to take that big step, becoming a playmaker, because he's going to be drawing a lot of double teams throughout the season, especially in the playoffs. So for his ability to get the ball out of his hands when he's double teamed and not force up bad shots and not turn the ball over, it's going to be huge. Shout out from New Zealand. Ghetto Clownfish from New Zealand. Appreciate you tuning in, man. Do you think Rose is going to show out since he is home? I do think so. D-Rose has been showing out all year, honestly. He doesn't really miss. It feels like D-Rose, every time he shoots a jump shot from downtown, it goes in. I'm expecting D-Rose to have a very good game in Chicago. I think the Bulls fans are going to be, it's going to be hard for them not to root for D-Rose. But, man, I'm excited for tonight just because of that. Who's a superstar you would like to target in an upcoming year? This is a really hard question because you don't know who's available. I don't think there's a big free agent market next year at all, which is why the Knicks handed out 2-year contracts because, we don't really need to worry about cap flexibility in terms of next season because there's no one really big time available. But the only superstars, maybe Bradley Beal, maybe Damian Lillard, but Lillard's off to a terrible start right now. I don't know. Off the top of my head, it's way too early. But the way the NBA works today is there's going to be a disgruntled star eventually. Obi is the X factor for us right now. He's a ball of energy off the bench, and his toughness gets the team going. I agree, Don. I think Obi's one of those players where it's like impossible to hate on. He's one of those players that looks like he's having so much fun out there. Every time he gets a bucket, he's smiling. He's, sprinting down the floor with a giant grin on his face. He's an aggressive guy that loves to dunk on people. That bounce pass from Emmanuel quickly against the Sixers that set up Obi Toppin for that and one two-handed flush was beautiful to see. The one thing about Obi Toppin is he's kind of, he needs to rely on good point guard play to set him up because he doesn't really get an opportunity to go ISO. He doesn't get an opportunity to do a lot the ball in his hands, and he's relying on the alley-oops. He's relying on people to, see him cutting. And there's still some times where I see Obi with his hands up and nobody really finds him, but I think they're going to find him throughout the season. We don't need superstars. I think we can do with what we got. I like this take, man. We don't have to worry about going out there and getting superstars right now. This Knicks team is winning. We hear the culture's there. The foundation's being built, and I love it. It's all up to Randall tonight. Yeah, man, if Randall has a really good game tonight, I like our chances because, with the four-headed monster in Chicago with Levine, Ball, and Vucevic, I feel like those four guys are, they're like the main four guys. I mean, listen, 25 points per game, 14, 14, 22. I mean, that's crazy. That's four guys putting up a lot of points. So if Randall can put up his 25 points per game, if Kemba can get at least 15 to 18, if Fournier can get his 18, if RJ can get his 15, if D Rose can get, 12, 13 off the bench, if Obi can get his 8 or 10 off the bench, if Quickly can get his 8 or 10 off the bench, I like our chances. We can win the championship this year, Richie. I feel like our chemistry is the best in the NBA, and the guys love playing with each other, and that can even supersede talent. I'm really feeling it, guys. Melvin, I love the optimism. I'm not going to get to that level yet. I'm going to be more realistic, but Melvin, there's nothing wrong with that. To have championship aspirations, the Knicks, it's only 4 games into the season, so I would pump the brakes a little bit because a lot of things are going to happen throughout the season, but there's no question that the Knicks look like a really darn good team so far this year. Off the ball, Evan and RJ cover the similar assignments. It'll be better in stag minutes to propel both of them. Yeah, I agree where you're coming from, man. I don't want them to trade before the deadline. If we do trade and move players around, we should do it in the offseason, not mess up the chemistry. I agree with this take, Don. I'm not really one of those people that advocates trading, like blowing up our entire team for one player. That's a big reason that we didn't really do a trade at the deadline last year. We did do a trade. We got D Rose in the building, and we traded like Dennis Smith Jr., who was not getting any minutes, and he was pretty bad. But I agree. I don't really think the Knicks are in a good position to trade away anybody because if we're going to trade somebody, who's it going to be? The one player in the rotation right now that I can say with confidence, like, okay, I wouldn't really mind giving him up is Burks. But outside of him, we're not giving up anybody else that I'm be okay with. When do you think RJ Barrett will go on a hot streak? He's very up and down, and so far he's okay, but still pretty cold. I think the problem with RJ right now is he's getting adjusted to his new role. He is now the third or fourth option instead of being the number 2 option last year. And if you guys remember, RJ Barrett started off the season slow last year. There's a lot of players in this league that don't start off hot right out of the gate. Some players, and it's not just RJ, there's a lot of players around the NBA that have the same exact situation where it takes them a little time. It takes them a good week or 2 or 3 weeks to get into the rhythm and get into the routine of being within the regular season. And maybe RJ Barrett is just that because RJ Barrett was shooting like below 20% from 3 throughout the first week or 2 last year. And then he still finishes with shooting over 40% from 3. That tells you RJ is going to get better and better as the season goes on. So do not get worried. I got all the confidence in the world for RJ Barrett to continue his progression as an NBA player. But you also have to realize, guys, even though RJ is not really there offensively just yet, his defense has been a difference maker so far this year. And some people don't really value that, which drives me crazy. Whenever people talk about RJ, they're looking at the box score. They're like, oh, he shot this percentage from the floor. He only had this amount of points. Well, unfortunately, you don't see the defensive stats in the box score. You can see steals, you can see blocks, but you do not see his impact when it comes to, locking people down the perimeter and being able to switch, getting into the passing lanes, locking people down, because that's what is going to determine RJ Barrett becoming a very good NBA player. If he can develop, become a true wing defender, a two-way player, I think that's the X factor for RJ Barrett's development. Richie, what's the key to stopping Chicago? I think the key to stopping Chicago is, the bench. I think that the bench unit needs to take a big step for us, like they've been doing all year, run them out of the court whenever their bench is in and our bench is in. I think we match up well against them. But when it comes to defensively, it worries me because they do have a lot of guys that could put the ball on the floor and score the basket. DeMar DeRozan is a walking bucket. So is Zach LaVine. Lonzo Ball, he likes to get his teammates involved. So the big question is how they're going to match up defensively. I feel like I would rather force DeMar DeRozan to shoot threes than him going into the paint or getting, to the mid-range shot. Zach LaVine, he's shooting so well from the field where it's going to be really hard for them to contain him. But I think the keys to stopping the Bulls is play high pace, play with more intensity, play with more sense of urgency, look like the better, well-coached team, and just look like the overall team that wants it more. I feel like that's what's going to be tonight's matchup. Who's going to want it more? It's going to be a scrappy matchup. And I feel like everything is going to be all about who wants it more tonight, in my opinion. What do you prefer, a blowout or a nail biter? This is a good question. For the NBA perspective, a nail biter. From a Knicks fan perspective, a blowout. Sometimes the blowouts, I don't have to be stressed. I don't have to be biting my nails with 4 minutes left. I don't have to get anxiety. I don't need to get a pit in my stomach. I don't need to get nervous. But the nail biter is always the best. I mean, that Boston Celtics season opener was ridiculous. That was the biggest nail biter I've watched as a Knicks fan in so long. I mean, double overtime does not get better than that. But I don't know. I would definitely prefer a blowout tonight. I think RJ could do well on Zach after what I saw him do on Tatum. Yeah, this is going to be a big test for RJ. Who's RJ going to go up against? Is it LaVine or is it DeRozan? Because that's the crazy thing is like they don't just have LaVine now. They got multiple guys that could put the ball on the floor and score with ease. LaVine's obviously the best player on the Bulls. So I'd like to see RJ match up against him, but we'll see. RJ will get an identity getting to the line at a real efficient clip. The steps propel his career to another level. I agree, man. I think that it's a big X factor for RJ, getting those calls, going to the rim, having an aggressive mindset. He worked on his ball handling. He worked on a lot of things in the offseason. It's only a matter of time until he really gets into rhythm because last year was the same exact thing, and now he's trying to adjust to his new position on this team, not being the number 2 option. That's a big adjustment. I see a lot of people saying Walker is not playing well because they're looking at the points and not looking at the fact that he's getting so many assists and playing good defense. Well, you also have to factor in if he's not getting a lot of points, go look at the box score and look at his shooting numbers. His percentage is through the roof. It's not like he's shooting and missing. He's not shooting the ball a lot. That's what I've noticed. Kemba Walker is not shooting the ball a lot. He did shoot against the Sixers a lot, which is why he broke out. He had 5 3-pointers, but it's not like the first 3 games, Kemba was chucking and missing, and his percentage is disgusting. Whenever he shoots, I mean, it goes in mostly. Like, I think he's shooting well over. I think I have the numbers right here, actually. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, Kemba is shooting 52% from 3 this year. He's 13 of 25. Like, that's ridiculous, guys. He's also shooting well over 45% from the field. It's not like Kemba Walker was not scoring a lot due to him missing jump shots. He's not scoring a lot because he's not shooting the ball a lot. So hopefully he can shoot more because he is a walking bucket. He's somebody that can just light it up at any given moment. And I'm expecting Kemba Walker to have a really good night tonight for the New York Knicks for sure. And Evan Fournier, guys. Evan Fournier is shooting 16 of 35 from 3. He has the most 3-pointers made for the Knicks individually. He's shooting 46% from downtown. That's ridiculous. And then Derrick Rose, he's shooting 58% from 3. Derrick Rose, 58%, 11 of 19. My goodness. I think Fournier needs to have a big night, and I hope Randall doesn't try to come out forcing things, let the game come to him. Yeah, man, I feel like Randall, that's the big adjustment for him this year as well, is understanding that he does not have to do everything. The whole game does not have to be on his shoulders. He does not have to go for every rebound. He does not have to make every assist. He does not have to shoot every single time, and I think this is a big adjustment period for Julius Randle, and he's doing very well so far. I really think that Julius Randle is going to have a big night, but at the same time, he needs to make sure that he gets his teammates involved like he's been doing all season long. Randle is leading the team in assists, so it's not like he's putting up every single shot. And Fournier, if he has a big night tonight, I like our chances for sure. If the Knicks somehow get a real small forward and RJ can become a big shooting guard and can get down his finishing and right hand, he could become a very great player. Yeah, man, I think that like people forgetting RJ is still only 21 years old. Like his trajectory and his potential throughout the rest of his career is astronomical. Like if this season is all about RJ just putting all of his energy into defense and really establishing himself as a top, wing defender, and his offense takes a step back this year, does that mean that's going to happen forever? No, that means because RJ is the future of this team, in my opinion. And he's only going to get better and better. And last year was his breakout performance offensively. If this year is his breakout performance defensively, that's such a good sign for the future, guys, because when it comes to RJ, it's more about the big picture than it is this season, in my opinion. I'm really looking at the longevity and his long-term success, how he develops of his career. And because he's so young and only going to get better and better, and he has that mindset that really, separates him from other players, in my opinion. Tell the truth. You want Atlanta in the playoffs again. Can't wait for December 25th. We versed the Hawks before Christmas, actually. I think we versed them in Atlanta in November. You know what? I do want the Hawks again because there's no other way to squander that Trae Young and like destroying the Knicks than us going out there and beating them in a playoff series. I'm not afraid of them. I know that they embarrassed us. I know that Randall had a terrible performance. I know that Trae Young looked like an absolute superstar in his first playoff performance, but I'm not afraid of the Hawks. I'll be straight up. I like the way that the Knicks adjusted in the offseason, and I love all the players on the Knicks team right now. Not saying that the Hawks are not a darn good basketball team, but I think that I'll say this. If Mitchell Robinson is healthy in a playoff series against the Hawks, completely different game. Completely different ball game. And I say that with confidence. Richie, if you see this comment, this game will determine where you guys truly are. Yeah, Peter, I agree. I think that the Knicks are going to prove to the league where they are tonight. But at the same time, if we lose tonight, I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. Say it's a close matchup. We lose by 2 points. We're 3-2. Bulls are 5-0. Cool. Like, there's still so much games to be played, guys. There's so much throughout the season where it's easy to overreact in the beginning, whether we're doing good or bad. But this season is a marathon. So I just want to remind you guys. If the Knicks make the playoffs again, do you think they will be out of the first round this time? Well, the big question is where they're seeded and who are they going up against. But I think that the Knicks have a really good chance of getting out of the first round this year if they do what they did last year, which was getting better as the season progresses. That's only going to help because if you guys remember, what really propelled the Knicks to become the 4th seed is they won on a 9-game winning streak. So if we can go on another really hot streak late in March and April, and then going into the playoffs strong, I like our chances. People are way too hard on RJ. Julius did not break out until he was 26. Steve Nash was deep into his career until he became elite. Marcus, thank you. Thank you. I could not agree with this more, Marcus. I don't understand why some Knicks fans are like that, but hey, you can't really complain. You can't really tell people how to, be a fan. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion for sure, but I don't understand the impatience when it comes to RJ. It's not like he is the number one option on this team and we're expecting RJ to carry us. He's not. That's not his role in the squad. Like his role right now is to develop a defensive game where if he can become a top tier talent on the defensive side of the ball this year, that's the biggest thing for me, for RJ. If he can continue that and build on that Jason Tatum game where we locked him down and prove to be able to lock down star players, that is more important than any other thing, in my opinion. I agree with you, Marcus. I agree. Of course not, but you guys beating Chicago will ultimately put fear into the whole Eastern Conference. I agree, Peter. I agree. What's the playing time look like when Noel Robinson and Gibson went all healthy? I think Gibson will be the odd man out, even though Taj is unvaluable. He is a guy that does so much for this Knicks team, but we gave Nerlens a big contract, and Nerlens is going to get minutes when he's healthy. So I think it's going to be Mitch starting and Nerlens off the bench, and then maybe any situational things. Maybe somebody gets fouled out. Mitch gets into foul trouble. Nerlens gets into foul trouble. They'll sub Taj in. He's always ready. And that's why this Knicks team is so deep, because that's another thing, guys. Nerlens Noel hasn't even played yet. Crazy. My guy Wardy's in the chat. Let's go, Wardy. I'm so excited for tonight. The rivalry is coming back big time. The two next big things in the East gonna be a battle. It's gonna be war tonight. It's going to be absolute war. Guys, if you guys are New York Mets fans and you want to be up to date, what the hell is going on with the Mets in the offseason with their president of baseball operations search, all the latest news about the Mets, Wardy NYM is your YouTuber to go to. He is the upcoming, he's not even upcoming, he's established himself as the best Mets YouTuber on YouTube. So guys, make sure you guys check out Wardy NYM. He's my great friend. I also have a Mets YouTube channel and I go on his channel. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff throughout the offseason and carrying over into the season. So guys, if you're a Mets fan, make sure you check out Wardy NYM. He's live every day, breaking down everything to do with the New York Mets. D Rose is going to light up Chi-Town. Woof, woof. All right, Eric, I love it. Fournier needs to have a big game against the Bulls. Mitchell Robinson is going to be a big factor, and they need to use Quentin Grimes more. Yeah, man, I agree. Quentin Grimes, it's unfortunate that he doesn't have any. I actually thought about this recently, guys, and this is really crazy if you think about it. This is the first time I can remember where the Knicks don't have a rookie playing. Like usually we are in the lottery, we take a rookie, we're excited to see our rookie play. And even last year we had two rookies and they both played a lot of minutes off the bench and Quickly and Toppin. The year before that, obviously we had RJ. But this is the first year in a long time where we drafted rookies that are not getting minutes. That's a good thing. Don't get it twisted. That's a very good sign because we have a lot of good players on this team. But I still want Quentin Grimes to get minutes. And I think the unfortunate reality is he's not going to get minutes until something happens to Alec Burks or there's injuries to somebody else and then he needs to step in. I don't think they're going to be able to fit him in unless there's injuries. And that's a good luxury to have because we have depth. We have that rookie off the bench getting ready to go whenever there is an injury. And I got a lot of excitement for Quentin Grimes. D-Roll's 50 ball incoming. All right, Will. Okay, Will, I see you, man. RJ's on that Chris Middleton route. Let him know, man. Let him know. I love this RJ optimism, man. He really is because if you look around the league and you look at these established two-way wings, they're not great right out of the gate. Go look at Chris Middleton's career. And I know you're on it, man. You're on it. And Heck says way further ahead than Middleton. He is. If you look at Middleton's stats, you compare him to RJ early in his career, RJ's way further ahead than Chris Middleton. Way further ahead. Let's go Knicks. Yes, sir. Welcome in, Leo. Of course, Wardy, I got you, my man. Why don't D Rose get the praise he deserves? He's not even a bench player. He's a starter. What do you mean? He gets so much praise. I praise D Rose like, I don't know if you're new to the channel, man, but I praise Derrick Rose like so much on this channel where it's kind of too much. So I don't know whether you're saying that about me or other people, but the entire Knicks fan base praises Derrick Rose. Like we're so lucky to have him. He's going to win 6 men of the year this year, 100%. And that's the crazy thing. He is a starter in this league, but he's coming off the bench. That's how deep this team is, which is so awesome. Guys, if you're new to the stream, please make sure you smash that like button. We got 126 people in the stream right now with 52 likes. So if you guys want to run up the like button for me, I'll greatly appreciate that. If we can get over 100 likes before the stream ends, that would mean a lot. So guys, smash that thumbs up button. I would greatly appreciate that. If you're new to the stream and did not smash that like button yet. I'd like to see Grimes on Levine, maybe for spot minutes. His defense seems legit. I agree, Heck. I wish we can get Grimes in there. I really do. But it will happen. Don't worry. Let's be patient with our rooks this year. Unfortunately, we're that good where our rookies don't even get minutes. What's the matchup you're most worried about tonight? I don't know. I'm not really worried about any particular matchup. I like our matchups. I think that Kemba matches up well against Lonzo. I think Fournier matches up against, maybe it would be Fournier against DeRozan in terms of defensively. I think DeRozan can easily eat on a guy like Fournier. I guess that answers your question. Zach LaVine has a torn ligament in his left hand, so force him left. That's a good game plan, Will. I like that. Definitely force Zach LaVine to his left hand. I know that he's dealing with that injury to his offhand. I don't think that has a big impact on his play style. Maybe it would be, but force him left. RJ has better numbers than Harden and Butler in his first few years. Mark, my guy. Thank you. All these guys getting so overreactive over RJ when he's 21 years old drives me crazy. So, Mark, thank you for the fact. Thank you for your research, because Knicks fans need to understand that the trajectory of RJ Barrett is better than we can all imagine. Hold on one second. Because the Knicks are so deep with backups and stuff like that, maybe the Knicks take one of those players up and can make a trade at the deadline. There's no point of keeping a player like that. Well, it depends what player you're talking about. Trading the rookies like Grimes and Deuce, no, you don't do that. It's a good thing because right now we're fully healthy, so we're not really, relying on our depth. But the reality is, guys, it's a long basketball season. There's going to be injuries, and we need to have guys ready to step up and play minutes. And we have that with Knox, Quentin Grimes, and Deuce. Jericho Sims even got some minutes earlier this season, and Wayne Selden. I don't know, but we got hitters. We got 15 men, big 15, baby. Even though I'm a Spurs fan, I got mad love for the Knicks. I just hope you guys get that W tonight, because the biggest talk in the Eastern Conference at this time is the Ball brothers. Yeah, man, I'm a big Ball brothers fan. I'd followed them for a while. I like LaMelo. I like Lonzo. It's good to see what they're doing. Yeah, when it comes to the versus the Knicks, I hope Lonzo has 10 turnovers and 0 for 10 from the field tonight. I'm not that much of a Ball fan, but I just like to follow them around. And they are the big talk because they're both doing really well with their respective teams. I heard the Bulls are going to honor Joakim Noah tonight. If so, D-Rose going to show out for his boy. I hope so, Bless. I hope. That'd be sick. Who do you think is tougher cover for Mitch? I think Embiid was, to be honest. Embiid finished second in the MVP race last year. And Embiid's way more of a physical threat. So tonight's going to be a big matchup for Mitch as well. But I do think that, it's a big test for Mitch. Stay out of foul trouble. Don't let him bully you. And stay in front of your guy. Defend the rim. Be a beast. On any given night, any of our starters can cook up their OP. Who's going to step up tonight? We need at least 2 players of 20 tonight. I think the 2 players of 20 points tonight will be Julius Randle and Kemba Walker. My guess. And the crazy thing is, you know who else can get a 20-point game? Evan Fournier. You know who else can get a 20-point game? RJ Barrett. You know who else can get a 20-point game? Derrick Rose. We have that many guys in this team that it can get any given night can get their 20 points. I think RJ is going to be special, and also I believe he's going to have a breakout at the close to the end of the season. I agree with this, man. I agree. RJ is one of those players that gets better and better as the season progresses. So I'm expecting that to happen with RJ. I'm super excited to see what he can do for the rest of the season, man. All jokes aside, did you expect the Knicks to be in first place right now? Because I know damn well I did not expect that. Well, the Knicks are not in first yet, Peter. If the Knicks win tonight, they'll be tied in first place with the Bulls and the Hornets. No, I did not expect the Knicks to be in first place. I expected them to be a lot better. I think the Knicks can match up well against anybody. I think that the depth of this team really separates them. So I think that I think it's a good sign. But man, it's going to be a battle tonight. It's going to be war. It's going to be gritty. It's going to be hopefully the Chicago Bulls fans show out and they make it a really crazy environment, because we all know what happens in the Garden. We don't need to worry about that if it's at Madison Square Garden. That place is a playoff atmosphere in the preseason. I love how we got multiple guys to score. I hope we establish who the second option scorer is. Identity is important moving forward. Yeah, man, that is funny because we don't know who the second scorer is going to be. If I had to guess, it might be Fournier, just because the 2-man game between him and Randle is legit. Fournier loves coming off the screens. He loves popping those threes. He loves getting to the rim. He loves facilitating. But it also could be Kemba. It can also be RJ at any given night. I love the depth of not only our team, but the starting lineup has a lot of guys that could be putting up bunch of points any given night. Oh, Peter, you're referring to the division. Yeah, man, we're 2-0 within the division. We beat the Celtics, we beat the Sixers, so we're in first place in the division. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I love that. We're ahead of the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets fell to the Miami Heat last night. They're 2-3. Sorry to hear that, Brooklyn. Miami's a very good team we got to look out for in the Eastern Conference for sure. But hey, I'm not really one of those fans that worries about all these other teams. I'm focused on the Knicks. I'm focusing on my team, who we're going up against, who's playing well for us, what needs to improve. Let's go, baby. Nice to see the Bulls and the Knicks finally getting the respect. Yeah, man. It's a really good thing for the NBA to have both the Knicks and the Bulls back. It really is. Even from a Knicks fan talking, I think that the Bulls being back is really huge for the NBA. You know, they're a huge market. And especially them being back at the same time, it's really good because we all know what happened in the 90s between the New York Knicks and the Chicago Bulls. That was wild, even though I was not able to witness that. Born in 1998, too young to witness it live, but I did go back and live those moments. I relived those moments. So, guys, tonight we have the New York Knicks heading to Chicago to face the 4-0 Bulls on Joakim Noah night. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere there. The Knicks look like they are a very good team now in the Eastern Conference. The Bulls are a brand new team with a lot of new players involved with, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine becoming a star, or, Lonzo, Caruso off the bench. There's a lot of guys on this Bulls team that's brand new. So the Knicks, this is the first time going up against them. It's going to be a very, very fun matchup. Jonathan says, from a Bulls fan, good luck to you guys tonight. Should be a great game. I appreciate that, Jonathan. Much respect to you. Hopefully it's a great game. I wish nothing but the best health-wise for the Bulls tonight as well. It's going to be one of those scrappy games where even non-Knicks and non-Bulls fans are going to be interested about this one. That's a good sign because the Knicks and the Bulls are back, and that's what I would say. Even though there's a rivalry between the Knicks and the Bulls back into the 90s, there's no reason to, hate on either team. I'm happy the Bulls are good because that means the Knicks and the Bulls are going to have really good matchups throughout the rest of the season and hopefully for seasons to come. It's really good. It's really good for the league, man. Shout out to Jonathan. There's a chance Nerlens might get it tonight. According to Thibs, he's looking game ready. Not sure I feel him inserting him tonight. Tonight should really be a war. Last report I saw is Nerlens is out tonight, unless Thibs said something else. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't think he's going to be available tonight. Hopefully Nerlens can get back within the next week or so because it's not like we're missing him big time, but he will be a big addition if he comes. You ain't lived through it. I did not live through it, man. I did not. I wish I did. All right, guys. So I'm going to wrap up the live stream. If you guys did not smash that thumbs up button on your way in, I would greatly appreciate that, guys. Please smash that like button. We got 68 likes. If we can get this to 100 likes before the end of the stream, that would mean a lot to me. I appreciate all the support here in Knicks Media, guys. It's going to be a fun ride for the rest of the year. Good luck to any of the Chicago Bulls fans watching this and Knicks fans. Let's enjoy the war tonight. Let's get scrappy. Let's make a big statement. Let's get the 4-1 on the season. Let's get a big game from Julius, big game from Kemba, D. Rose, homecoming, Taj Gibson, Thibodeau. We all know what's good with this Knicks squad. Who's the man that's going to step up tonight for the New York Knicks? Let's hope for a good game. Let's hope for one that goes all the way down to the wire. And let's hope for a Knicks dub. Am I right? Let's hope for a Knicks dub. Woo! Oh, my gosh. Oh, my goodness. I'm excited for this game. I'm so pumped up right now. Let's go, Knicks. Smash that thumbs up button. Comment after the stream your thoughts and expectations of this game. Knicks Nation, stand up. We here. Bing bong. Love you guys. Let's go, Knicks.